Alright, okay, well, good afternoon everybody. Welcome along to the fourth and final of today's Sea Lion displays. My name's Jake, and as you can see, I've brought two of our boys out to meet you all. And the first job for these two is to give you all a nice big wave hello. But these two, they won't wave to you unless you all wave to them first. So everyone's sticking arm in the air, waving around a little bit. There we go, that'll do that to most of you. Come on then boys, let's wave back, say hello to everybody. Make everyone feel nice and welcome. Okay. Now these two, they are both Californian sea lions, and as that name does suggest, you can of course find the largest population, or the biggest group of this particular type of sea lion all along the coast of California. Now you can also find them as far north as Canada, where of course it's pretty cold, and as far south as Mexico, where of course it's lovely and warm. So this type of sea lion is quite widespread all across that western Pacific coast of America. Now these two, they're not yet fully grown, not even the big fella over in the corner, and they won't be fully grown until they're around about 18 years old. Now by that time, these two, they could both reach lengths of around 2 to 2.5 meters. So they're both going to get a lot taller, especially the little fella, but they could also end up weighing anything between 30 to possibly even 40 stone. So they are also going to get a lot fatter and a lot heavier too. This big chap here, he weighs 21 stone already. So in theory, he could at least double in size. That's how big these guys can actually get. Let me introduce you to them so you know who's who. We'll start off with the little fella first. This little guy, he's called Roger. Now Roger is one of the youngsters that we look after here at Knowsley. He's only 7, so he is one of the youngest and definitely one of the cutest. Now Roger, he is very, very clever, but he's also really friendly as well. So if I'm not lucky, I might get a little flip shake. You're right, Roger, how are you doing? You okay? A nice little kiss, thank you. So that's little Roger. Now the noisy, excitable sea lion who sits over in the corner, he's called Arthur. Arthur's 16 years old, and out of the 4 sea lions that we look after here at Knowsley, Arthur is, without a doubt, the naughtiest. He's the most likely to muck about. He causes trouble whenever he can, and as you'll be able to tell, he does make an awful lot of noise. But again, just like Roger, he is very, very clever, and Arthur's really friendly as well, so say a good hello to him as well. Right, Arthur, you're going to be a good boy in this display. You are one of the soon find out, I'll tell you that much. There we go. So now you know who the two of them are. The first thing that I'll get these two to show you this afternoon is the ability that sea lions are famous for. And that of course is their ability to balance things on their noses. So I'll get a couple of footballs out. So we'll give this one to Arthur first. So Arthur, hold on to that for me. There's a good boy. We'll go for Roger. Now, lots of people know that sea lions can do this, but what not everyone knows is how it's done. The secret to it is in those lovely long whiskers you can see on the sea lions' faces. Those whiskers, they're really, really sensitive. Now, they're not strong enough to hold the ball or move the ball, but what they are doing is they're feeling which way the football's moving. So all Arthur and what you have to do is listen to their whiskers, then move those heads around with that long flexible neck in the right direction to try and stop it from falling off. So as long as they both listen to the whiskers, they can balance all day long. Now those whiskers, they do of course have a much more important use. In the wild, sea lions use their whiskers to feel for different movements and different vibrations that are made underneath the water. Now by doing that, helps these guys to pinpoint exactly where their food is. Now these guys, go and pick that back up. There's a good boy. Now these guys, they eat fish and squid for a living, and when fish and squid swim, they create different vibrations in the water with the tail that sea lions pick up on with those whiskers. So just by listening to those whiskers, sea lions, they can find their food and they can balance the football on their nose as well. Last little bit, yeah, give them both a nice big round of applause. That was a good start, that was So when I first introduced these two, I introduced them as sea lions. Now they're not seals. People call them seals all the time, but it isn't true. Seals and sea lions are actually two completely different species. Now to be fair, they do look very similar, but there are still very big differences between them. So between the three of us, we'll show you all how you can tell the two apart. The first thing you need to look for is how do they swim. Sea lions, for instance, only ever swim using their big front flippers. In fact, will you show it on your front flippers? Thanks, Roger. And you are. There we go. Now, when these two swim, they look like they're flying because they move these giant paddles up and down through the water like that, which can propel the speed of anything up to around 20 miles an hour. So they can swim pretty quick. Now, if these two were both seals, their front flippers, well, they'd be about the size of my or your hands. And they'd be stuck to the sides of their bodies like that, making them pretty difficult to swim with. So instead, a seal will swim using its back flippers, and they'll move those back flippers from side to side just like a fish. Now because these two use those front flippers to swim with, it means they've got lots of muscles in their chest just here, and in their shoulders as well, which makes them very, very strong, and also really good at a little bit of gymnastics. Right, Arthur, show everyone a front flip stand for me, get that big jump in the air, there we go. Now this is what we call a front flipper stand. Only sea lions can do this. Seals couldn't do them because those tiny front flippers just wouldn't hold all that weight. That was good, Arthur, give yourself a clap. That was a good work, well done. So the front flipper stand is something we've been trying to teach little Roger how to do. Now, you can see the size difference between the two of them. Roger doesn't have as much muscle in his upper body than what Arthur does, so he does look a little bit like a seesaw, but we'll be able to show you anyway. So Roger, show everyone yours, that's it, get that bump. Now, with a bit of time and a little bit of practice, hopefully Roger will learn that it is much easier to keep that bump in the air, just like Arthur does, but it is going to take quite a bit of time and quite a bit of practice. One more. Give them both a nice big round of applause. Now there is a much better way, a much easier way to tell a sea lion from a seal, and it's to watch how they move when they're on dry land. So Arthur, you can come and help me out with this one. Now what we want you guys to do is just watch how Arthur walks. But before we set off, I'm going to tell you a little bit about their back flippers. Because sea lions are quite unique, they can turn those back flippers forwards and backwards. So come on Arthur, need you up here for this bit. In your own time, there's a good boy. Now if you look at Arthur's back flippers at the minute, you'll see that he's got them facing forward. Now that's because he knows he's going to go for a walk. But when these guys are swimming, or when they're chilling out and relaxing, they can turn those back flippers right and behind. And when they're swimming, those back flippers help them to twist and turn through the water quite quickly. But as I say, he knows he's going for a walk, so he's turned those flippers forwards, and he's now got 4 walking limbs that all move independently. Now that's brilliant for sea lions because it means that they're really, really mobile. For instance, if Arthur needed to, he can jump over things, that's it. He can stand on those back flippers so he can climb and he can try to reach up for things. There's a good boy. These guys can run at speeds of about 10 miles an hour, and sea lions, they can roll themselves over too, can't they, Roger? Let's do a couple of them. There we go, let's do another one. There's a good boy. Go back to there. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is that sea lions are fast, mobile creatures. Now seals, on the other hand, they move in a completely different way, don't they, Arthur? Right, come down here then. Can you show everybody how does a seal move? There we go, that's what a seal looks like. So they sort of jiggle along on their bellies like that, and they look a little bit like a giant caterpillar or a slug. But because seals have those tiny front flippers, which are stuck like that, remember, it means that they can't use them for walking, for climbing, for running, or for rolling over. So sea lions, they'll always be much more mobile if you ever get to see them on the beaches. Do you want to show them what yours do, yeah? Go on then, quickly, that's the way we seal move. That's it, Roger, always here. Keep going, keep going. Yeah, give them both a nice big round of applause. Let's see the questions on the way. most important thing is, of course, their food, their daily diet of fish and squid. Now, fish and squid, they're not easy things to catch. These guys have to have good eyesight, but they also need to be good at judging distance and speed as well. Now, obviously, here at the park, we give these guys their food. Today, they've had mackerel and herring. But to show you how good they are at catching things, I'm going to throw 5 rings to Roger. Let's see how many he can catch over his head. Right, Roger, 5 rings, you ready? Here we go, there's 1, that's it, there's 2, 3, 4. Now they were all pretty easy, so I'm going to spin this last one. The way it moves through the air makes it faster and a lot harder for Roger to catch. So if he does manage to get it, give him a big round of applause for me. You ready, Roger? Tricky one, here it comes. Oh! And very good, that was a good catch. Very good catch, well done, Roger. Give yourself a clap. Now, of course, if Roger was in the wild, he wouldn't be catching fish on the beach. He'd be swimming after them instead. So this time, what we'll do, we'll send Roger off into the water. Let's see how many rings he can catch when he has to swim after them instead. Right, Roger, turn your book round, your first one goes all the way up there. Turn on this, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we missed on the floor. Right, I'll tell you what we'll do, we'll start again. Come back over here, Roger. Now, that was my fault, that was my throw. I'm still learning to throw the rings. Sorry, Roger, right, come on, we'll try again. I'll try and throw them properly this time. Turn round, first one all the way over there. That was definitely your fault. Definitely right. We'll have one more go. Back in. One more go. 10 rounds. What's going on? What's going on? Right, you've got to catch the rope. That's the thing. Right, 10 rounds. What? Right, I'll tell you what. We'll move on. He clearly doesn't want to do it. Get back up on there. That's it. We'll try that one later. Now, there is another thing that seals and sea lions have in common. But the most important is, but this time, it's a lot more dangerous because it's their enemies. Now, California sea lions, they have 2 main enemies. The first one's the killer whale, or the orca, as it should be called. The second one, I'm not going to tell you, because Arthur does a better impression of it. Go on, Arthur, what's your deadliest enemy? Yeah, he's got sharks. So the tiger shark, the bull shark, the hammerhead shark, and the great white. All things sea lions make a lovely dinner. So the minute that these guys think an enemy is anywhere in the area, the first thing they'll do is swim right back to the beach where they're nice and safe. But do give Arthur a big round of applause. That's a good start for Arthur. So we are unfortunately coming quite close to the end of this afternoon's display. Before we go, we'll get these 2 to finish things off with their favourite bit. Now this is where they get the chance to do a little bit of showing off by leaping out to the water to try and touch that pink ball. That's all the way up there at the minute now. It's too high where it is. Roger's going to go first with this one. And at the minute, Roger can hit his high ball. And up there, Roger, did you hit that? Yeah, okay. Now Roger, he's a little bit of a daredevil because he likes to start his high ball attempt on top of his tower just over there. So in a second, what Roger's going to do, he's going to go across, he'll climb those stairs to the platform you can see at the very top. Once he's there, he'll dive off into the water, swim across, and then try and hit the big ball with his nose. Now if he does manage to hit it, please do give him a big round of applause, because he has been a very good boy in this display, and it does take him quite a bit of effort for this jump, doesn't it, Rog? Go on then, head over that too. Now do you remember earlier when I was telling you how mobile sea lions are? Watch how quickly Roger climbs these stairs. He doesn't hang along. He's already at the top. Here he goes. He's away. He's a cycle. Lots of jump. You get back up on there. Give yourself a couple of those. Now, believe it or not, that jump there, that is still a little bit too easy for Arthur, so we are going to raise it up. But before we do that, it gives me a quick opportunity to tell you about our posters. Now, at the end of the display, like I said in the announcements, these guys are going to be going straight away. I'm going to stay in this field for you guys to watch. But once you've left your exits, if anyone's got any questions or anything that you'd like to know about the sea lions, I'll be outside those doors by the outdoor pool. So as I say, if anyone's got any questions or anything you'd like to know, come and find me out there. I'm happy to answer any questions. Now, we'll also be selling posters of the sea lions. Now, because of social distancing and social contact, we can't sell posters individually. So we're going to be selling them for a pack of 4 posters for a £5. So you get a poster of all 4 of our sea lions for just a £5. So again, if you'd like to buy one of them, once you've left the exit, come and see me by the doors. I'll be happy to sell you them. Now the posters, I have to say, they are very nice. Roger's poster is very, very cute, quite close up, it's a nice one of his face. Arthur's, on the other hand, is really, really cheeky, isn't it, Arthur? Right, show everybody what you do on your poster. You see that, do it again. Pulls tongues on his poster, so as I say, if you want to buy some posters, come and see me by the doors once you've left the exits. We haven't finished yet though, it is Arthur's turn, and he is really into this. Arthur's high ball goes a little bit higher, it goes to around about there, Arthur, so you can hit that, yeah. Now to me this is far more impressive, because Arthur doesn't start his high ball 10 from on top of the tower, he starts where he is now. So this just shows you guys the amount of power that Arthur has in those front flippers. So if he does manage to hit it, once again, please do give him a big round of applause, because he's been a very good boy as well, and it is going to take him a lot more effort this jump. Now we always give Arthur to the count of 3. The more people who join in, the louder that we do it, the better Arthur does. So you guys are going to help me count it. We're going to shout 1, 2, 3, and then shout go. The louder, the better. Are we ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, go! He's away. Really hit it as well. What a jump. Give him a clap, Roger. That's it. Well done. That was a very good jump. Give yourself a clap. That was very good. Well done, good boy. Alright. So unfortunately that does bring us to the end of the display, but if you could stay in your seats and the stewards will let you leave row by row to maintain that social distance, and it's a lot quicker for them to do it like that than what it is for everyone to just get up and leave. So please remain patient and stay in your seats, it won't take that long. As I said before, if anyone's got any questions or if you'd like to buy a pack of posters, once you've left, come and see me by the outdoor pool. I'll be out there for about 5 minutes. But in the meantime, from Noisy Arthur, Cheeky Little Roger and me, thank you all for coming. Enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll say bye for now. Say bye to everyone.